Hello, my crafty friends. It's Marie from Mariesvermontcreations, and today is day 9 of the Countdown to Christmas card series for 2024 with myself and Michele from Scrap Secrets. So the theme for today is rainbow stamping. So I am going to be using this new background stamp from Honeybee Stamps called Holly Jolly Background. And then my little fireplace is from Ink Road Stamps. And so I've placed my waffle flower grip mat in my Misty because I did this once and I shifted it when I went to go stamp it a second time. So I smartened up and put the grip mat in. So the colors of Distress Oxides that I'm going to be using are Festive Berries, Worn Lipstick, and Spun Sugar. So I thought I'd go with a gradient of pink and reds. So I'm just stamping this down, and I'm going about a third of the way. I'm not being very precise with it. I am going to stamp it again. For the red, I do come back at the end and do it one more time because it just wasn't as bright as I wanted it to be. Like, you couldn't quite see the gradient as well. So I did come back and stamp that a third time. I'm just using the sleeve of my sweatshirt so that I can get some good pressure. I do have a little dry eraser that I forget to use. I will be honest, my craft desk is such a hot mess right now. It needs to be cleaned after I've just done several card videos, so I need to get it picked back up. So now I'm moving on to Worn Lipstick, so kind of overlapping and going in the middle. I am taking my rag just to make that not quite as harsh a line where I ended with my ink. And again, using my sleeve for some pressure. And I will stamp these a couple of times. I may not show them all, but I did have to stamp them because this is a brand new stamp. I literally opened the package when I started filming this video. So I'm just going to get this layer done. Make sure all of my words are legible. That is always important. So you could do this a number of different ways. I will show you one other technique at the end using this same stamp set. And of course the ambulance is not going to go by. I tell you. I apologize, but I do live next door to the ambulance station, so we do frequently have them go by. So then and in between I am cleaning my stamp. I just took that out. I didn't figure you needed to watch me do that, but I just used some Brutus Monroe stamp cleaner and a cloth and clean off my stamp. And so I'm finishing off with Spun Sugar, which is a very light pink. And I did this at the bottom because this is where I'm going to adhere my fireplace. So I thought it would be better to have the lighter color, towards the bottom. And then here I am just redoing that red section like we had talked about because I just wanted it to pop a little bit more. And so once I have this done, I am going to set this panel aside to let it dry while I work on my fireplace. So I will take the sticky mat out of my Misty, put the foam mat back in because this I can put in the corner. And I'm stamping this using the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. Sorry, I'm a little off to the bottom of the screen because, again, my desk is a disaster. So I do stamp this a couple of times to make sure that I get a good impression. This is another stamp set. I got this in a prize package from Ink Road Stamps, and I have not used it yet. So this is the first time I'm using this stamp as well. And once I get that stamped the way that I want it, I am going to take out my alcohol inks or my alcohol markers and color this in. Again, I am not doing anything fancy. This is one layer colors. I am just putting them on. I will use some browns for the fireplace, a darker brown for some of the accents on the fireplace. The logs, I do the fire in a yellow, an orange, and a red combination. So while I'm coloring this, I just thought I would talk to you a bit about the series. Michele from Scrap Secrets, this is her series that she does. She's been doing it for quite a few years, and I have joined her for the last couple to do the full series. About 3 years ago, I did one video with her. She asked me to join her, and last year I did the entire series, and so we opted to do it again this year. So it is 25 projects, 2 projects a week, Mondays and Fridays until Christmas. So between the 2 years, you're going to have 100 different videos of different inspirations. We've tried to do different themes or techniques each year so that everything is not, just repeating over and over again. I have been digging in my stash to try to use some things that I haven't used before or that I don't use very often, because I know we all do that. We tend to buy the things and then they sit, or at least that's what I do. So I will have Michele's video or her channel link down below. I also have a playlist where I've put together all of the videos for this year. I do have a playlist for 2023 as well, if that's something you're interested in. I didn't put them all together just because I didn't want it to be too overwhelming. But that is definitely available, and I try to put that at the end screen so that you could have that if you so choose. And I do add Michele's videos to that playlist, so they'll all be together. But if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them for me down below. I am working my way towards 1,000 subscribers, and if I reach that milestone, I will do an extra giveaway for this series if I reach that milestone during this, before, the last video for this series. Michele has an intro video giving the information for her giveaway and all of those things over on her channel, which, like I said, will be linked down below. But if there are projects that you'd like to see from me, whether they be Christmas or other things, definitely feel free to leave them for me. I do appreciate feedback or suggestions. I always will try, to try to do it if it's within my capabilities. So definitely let me know if that's something you're interested in. I almost forgot to color in the center of this fireplace and the full background of it, but realized it before I decided to cut it out. So I'm just using a dark gray to give this like a setback look, which I really like how that came out. And then I take a brown and will color in that remaining background piece. And then off screen, I will fussy cut this just using some small scissors. I left a white border around it so that I didn't have to get right up close because of the way the ribbons are up in the corner. I knew that I would end up lopping off a bow or something because cutting things out is not my, I'm not an expert by any means. I get the job done, but it's not my favorite. And this isn't anything that I have a die for. So there it is all cut out, and I will adhere my background using some Barely Arts glue, and then I will adhere the fireplace to the bottom of this panel. When I made this card, I wasn't quite sure if I liked the background and the fireplace together, so you guys will have to let me know what you think, if I pulled this off or if I should have used something else as my image, to tie this all together. I like it now that it's done, and I do find if I step away and come back to a project, I'm not quite as critical of it as when I'm in the process of making it. I don't know if that's anything that you guys experience, but I do definitely have that happen more often than not. But here is this card completely finished. And then I thought, what would it be if I decided to do sort of rainbow stamping, but I used embossing powder? So I'm going to take that same background stamp, I'm going to place it down on my glass mat face up, and I am just taking out a bubble that I saw, and then I'm going to ink this up with clear embossing ink. I do the entire thing at one time. You could probably do it separate, but I thought it would be easiest to do it all together, and then I will put my cardstock on top of the stamp and then just rub it with my fingers to, fingers crossed, get a good impression. You could put this in your MISTI and do it as I did the rainbow stamping, just do the entire panel with the clear ink. But I am going to lift this up off of the stamp, and then I am going to coat this with both Brutus Monroe Gilded and the silver embossing powder. So I'm putting the silver on, trying not to be, precise where it goes in a line, and then I will add the gold on the remaining, and there'll be some sections where some words are gold at the top and silver at the bottom. So I thought that was a pretty neat effect. You could do this with any colors. It doesn't have to be metallic, but you could do this with a variety of embossing powders. So I'm going to clean up my workstation off screen, and then I heat set this until it's smooth and melted. I didn't leave all of it in, but that is the finished heat embossing and my other card project. I hope you like the projects for today. And as always, I hope that you have a great day.